Breaking. King Charles just did something no British monarch has done in 50 years, and it's tearing the government apart from the inside. Prime Minister Keir Starmer sent a private letter to Buckingham Palace last Tuesday at 9:47 a.m. What he requested was stunning. He asked King Charles to cancel public appearances in London for 3 months, citing security concerns around Labour's reform plans. Charles read the letter, then he did the opposite. Within 2 hours, he scheduled 5 new London events, including an unannounced visit to meet veterans in the East End. That single decision just triggered the biggest royal government clash since the abdication crisis. And if you want to see how this plays out, hit subscribe, because what happens in the next 72 hours could reshape British politics. Here's why this matters. The request wasn't really about security. Internal Labour documents leaked to The Telegraph on Wednesday revealed the real reason. One memo stated that royal appearances were creating problematic nationalist sentiment that undermines Labour's messaging. Translation: too many British people love their king, and that's a problem for Star's agenda. When senior Labour strategist Morgan McQueenie's email leaked, saying the monarchy represents everything Labour needs to dismantle, the backlash was instant. Conservative MP Jacob Rees-Mogg read portions in Parliament. The gallery erupted. Even neutral observers called it damning. But here's where it gets personal. British veterans are watching this unfold with anger that goes beyond politics. James Morrison, 67, a former Royal Marine from Portsmouth who served at 22 years and earned 3 commendations, spoke outside the Imperial War Museum yesterday. His voice broke. "We didn't fight for this country, so some politician could tell our king where he can and cannot go." Morrison survives on a pension that barely covers rent, while cabinet ministers live in taxpayer-funded apartments costing $4,000 per week. The contrast is driving even lifelong Labour voters away. Patricia Hughes, a retired voter from Durham, said it clearly. "I've voted Labour my whole life, but this attack on our monarchy is unforgivable. They've lost me forever." A veterans group calling themselves Defenders of the Crown launched a petition demanding Starmer's resignation. Within 48 hours, 387,000 signatures. Former Army Colonel Richard Kemp, who commanded forces in Afghanistan, appeared on BBC Breakfast visibly shaken. "In 30 years of service, I never questioned my government's respect for the crown. Now I don't recognize this country." His interview was shared 2.1 million times. Then King Charles broke protocol in a way that stunned constitutional experts. At yesterday's Commonwealth Day service at Westminster Abbey, he delivered what palace insiders are calling the most pointed speech of his reign. Standing before cameras broadcasting to 50 countries, Charles spoke with controlled intensity. "Service to this nation is not a privilege granted by politicians," the king said, his voice steady and sharp. "It is a sacred duty that transcends temporary governments and fleeting political wins. Those who serve understand this. Those who seek only power never will." The Abbey went silent. Everyone understood who he meant. Charles didn't name Starmer. He didn't need to. He just told the world his prime minister values power over service. Palace sources revealed Charles personally rewrote that section 6 times, removing diplomatic language and adding sharper words. Senior advisors tried to talk him out of it. He overruled them all. What happened next proves how badly Starmer miscalculated. Prince William made an unscheduled visit to a military hospital in Woolwich. Speaking to wounded veterans, he said something extraordinary. "My father and I will always be wherever Britain needs us most. No memo will ever change that." The entire royal family united against Downing Street. Princess Anne cancelled a private event to honor the household cavalry. Prince Edward appeared at 3 public engagements in 2 days. The palace wasn't just pushing back. It launched a coordinated campaign. The financial markets reacted first. The pound dropped 2.3% against the dollar within 90 minutes of Charles's speech. £8.7 billion wiped from the FTSE 100 by market close. Currency traders cited constitutional uncertainty. Then the political fractures began. 7 Labour backbench MPs have now publicly broken with Starr. Veteran Labour member Graeme Stringer called the attempted royal ban the stupidest political decision in modern history. Sarah Champion, Member of Parliament for Rotherham, received 847 emails from constituents demanding Starr apologise. Only 3 supported him. International reactions came fast. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese cancelled his state visit to Britain, citing scheduling conflicts nobody believes. Canadian officials leaked concerns about constitutional stability affecting trade talks. New Zealand's parliament passed a motion supporting constitutional monarchy, 87 votes to 33. Protests erupted across Britain simultaneously. Manchester, Birmingham, Glasgow, Cardiff, Newcastle. Every major city saw thousands march supporting the monarchy. In Liverpool, a traditional Labour heartland, 6,000 people gathered waving Union Jacks and singing "God Save the King." The poll shows something unthinkable. A Sunday Times survey revealed 68% of Britons believe Starmer should resign over this crisis. His approval rating collapsed from 41% to 23% in 5 days, the fastest prime ministerial decline ever recorded. Inside number 10 Downing Street, the atmosphere has turned toxic. Cabinet Secretary Simon Cassis reportedly slammed a folder on the table during Tuesday's emergency meeting, saying Starmer had created an unsolvable disaster. Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner was overheard telling shadow cabinet members that loyalty has limits and those limits have been reached. WhatsApp groups with names like Last Stand are lighting up with messages about replacing Starmer before he destroys the party. The question isn't if they'll move against him, it's when. Foreign Secretary David Lammy looked physically ill during yesterday's press briefing. Defense Secretary John Healey has stopped defending Starmer entirely, pivoting every question away from the crisis. 3 junior ministers have drafted resignation letters. They're waiting for the right moment. Sources describe Starr as increasingly isolated, convinced everyone around him is plotting he's right. Chancellor Rachel Reeves held a 3-hour dinner at her Notting Hill townhouse Wednesday night. 10 senior Labour MPs attended. No agenda was published, but everyone knows what they discussed. Reeves is positioning herself as the unity candidate who can restore constitutional normalcy. She's been making calls to trade union leaders, promising her first act as Prime Minister would be a personal apology to King Charles. Meanwhile, Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson has stopped attending cabinet meetings, claiming illness nobody believes. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper was spotted leaving Parliament through a side entrance at 11 p.m. Thursday after meeting with 6 independent-minded backbenches. The plotting isn't even secret anymore. But here's the part that could end Starmer's career permanently. Leaked cabinet documents obtained by The Times reveal that senior advisors warned Starmer repeatedly this would explode. Policy Director Clea Ninsley wrote a 9-page analysis detailing how public opinion would turn, how constitutional experts would condemn it, how even Labour voters would see it as overreach. Starmer's response, according to 3 people at the meeting, the monarchy needs to understand who's actually in charge here. If these documents are authentic, Starmer deliberately chose this confrontation knowing it would damage Britain. He gambled everything on a power play and lost. Meanwhile, Conservative leader Rishi Sunak is positioning himself as the voice of constitutional sanity. During Prime Minister's questions yesterday, he didn't attack Starmer directly. He simply asked, "Does the Prime Minister regret attempting to exile our monarch from his own capital?" The restraint was masterful. Even Labour MPs winced. The polls tell a story that terrifies Downing Street. Conservatives have surged to 38% support, their highest in 18 months. Labour has fallen to 24%. For the first time since the 2024 election, voters prefer Sunak to Starr by 52% to 31%. In traditional Labour strongholds like County Durham and South Yorkshire, the Conservative lead has expanded to double digits. Sunak looks like Britain's adult in the room, while Starmer resembles someone throwing tantrums at traditions he doesn't respect. Reform UK leader Nigel Farage is also capitalizing on Labour's collapse. At a rally in Stoke-on-Trent Thursday night, 4,000 people chanted, "God Save the King" for 5 straight minutes. Farage stood silently, hand over heart, letting the moment speak. When the crowd quieted, he said 8 words, "This is what they fear most." Reform UK membership applications crashed their website twice in 24 hours. Polling shows Reform gaining ground in 43 constituencies, most of them Labour seats. Farage isn't a protest vote anymore. He's a genuine threat to both major parties. The next 72 hours are critical. Parliament reconvenes Monday morning, where Starr faces hostile questions from his own benches and opposition attacks. King Charles has scheduled another London appearance for Wednesday. A deliberate challenge Starmer cannot stop. Labour's National Executive Committee meets Thursday to discuss leadership concerns. 3 cabinet ministers are preparing to resign simultaneously if Starmer doesn't apologize to the king publicly and unconditionally. The question is no longer whether Starmer survives. It's how bad his downfall becomes and whether he destroys the Labour Party on his way out. Britain is watching a prime minister attack an institution that survived wars, depressions, and revolutions. At the center stands Starr, looking increasingly isolated and finished. So, what happens next? Does Starmer resign before he's forced out, or does Labour's cabinet remove him themselves? Did the Prime Minister just commit the greatest political mistake in modern British history? What do you think happens in the next 72 hours? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're reading everyone because your perspective matters in understanding how this crisis unfolds. And if this constitutional showdown shocked you, share this with everyone who needs to understand what's really happening in Westminster right now. The mainstream media is covering this, but they're not showing you the full picture of how close we are to a complete government breakdown. Tomorrow, we'll break down the leaked messages that reveal who Labour's cabinet is considering as Starmer's replacement and why that choice could determine Britain's direction for the next decade. 8.